Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us for a quick 20-minute or so presentation. This presentation will be focused on the Technology Commercialization Summer Consulting Program, which is going to be, for most of you, starting in about a week from now. Quick overview. Most of you had heard this in the previous session that we did back in February, but just to refresh your minds a little bit. The program, our Graduate Summer Internship Program, is now in its 16th year. So back in 2001, when I started with the SBTDC, we had a kind of a vision of how can we assist our clients, you guys, at a little bit deeper level than we can. As you know, we're at the SBTDC advisors, so we can kind of coach you and mentor you through the business challenges that you have. But we have a very, very strong student base here in North Carolina, not just in RTP, but schools all across the state. So we said, how can we utilize this kind of intellectual power at our graduate institutions to help you guys? So we started this program back in 2001, and since then, almost 300 different businesses have taken part, and they've been linked with roughly 150 interns throughout the years. It's kind of interesting to follow those early interns and what their career paths have been. It's literally been all across the board. Some have started their own companies. Some have gone on to work with the companies and exit with the companies that they interned with. Some are in corporate positions. Some are teaching, etc. So in that 16-year period, over 60,000 hours of service has been provided to you guys, the small tech companies who are on the cusp of really good things from a business standpoint. And finally, the SBTDC, we're really fortunate to have SBTDC support as well as the university support, the universities being the universities that the students are enrolled with. Together, the SBTDC and the universities are putting together, pooling funds, leveraging funds to help pay these intern stipends. But I want to make it very clear that it's not a requirement that you guys participate in the funding at all. We know that funding is very tight, and that's what we're here to help you get through, is hopefully bring some more funding into your doors. But at the end of the summer, we will reach back out to you and ask that if you did find value in this program, that if you do have the ability to make a funding contribution, it's very appreciated and acceptable to do so. So the SBTDC this year is partnering with NC State and their MBA program, Duke MBA and Masters of Engineering Management programs, UNC, both MBA and PharmD programs. So we've got the three biggest universities playing a role in this summer, in not just one program, but two at both Duke and UNC. So we're pleased to see that the program is expanding beyond MBAs. That's kind of where it originally started. So now we've got some engineers and PharmD program students as well. So the time commitment that students are going to have is roughly 2.5 days a week with each of their two clients. So you and another client will be sharing your intern, so that there are roughly 200 hours of service provided to each of those two interns that the client or the intern is working with. So it's very important to make note of the fact that this is not a full-time intern. It is going to be a 2.5-day-a-week time commitment that the intern does have with you over the 10-week course of the project. So the SBTDC mentors play a very significant role in this program. So on my team, we have the director, Nicole Schwerbrock, and my colleagues, Mike Carnes and Chris Veal. All four of us are going to be playing a role as a mentor to a few of these students. So this year we have roughly 12 students who are taking part in this mechanism, and each of us will have roughly 3 students that we mentor one-on-one. What mentors do is we meet with students weekly to discuss the project work that they're focused on, address issues, address challenges, etc., and really make sure that the work that they're doing is progressing in the most efficient way, and that they're working toward milestones that they've set forth in their project descriptions. It's very important for you to keep in as close of communication with the SBTDC mentor that your intern is linked with. We want you to be comfortable in contacting us anytime by email or phone. Be willing to share good news that's coming, out of the work that your intern is associated with. Let us know of updates, things that are changing in the project, and most importantly, challenges or issues that might be coming up. So we want you to be very comfortable in letting us know the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the reason for that is because we can act as that kind of liaison between you and the client. If, for example, there might be a communication blockage or a misunderstanding of project work, etc. So at the end of the day, our role at the SBTDC, our win is your win, right? We want to make this project as smooth as possible, and anything that we can do to help make that happen is fair game. So communicate with us at any time. Your communication with the intern is very, very important. We suggest that interns and their 2 clients schedule at least weekly communication between them. So it's very important to try to make those meetings in person. Of course, sometimes that's not possible to do, but for the majority of the summer, we would like to have you and the interns meet one-on-one. Certainly having one-on-one communications is beneficial to both parties. It's just a better way to work. Now, some interns and clients are going to be geographically far apart. For example, there are a couple of clients in the Triad region, and students are perhaps in the Raleigh area. Travel, we don't want to make that a priority and a waste of time, but perhaps you could share the travel and meet halfway, or meet halfway in Raleigh sometime, or meet half the time in Raleigh, half the time in Winston-Salem, etc. So try your best to make those communications in person. Work location. It's certainly okay from our standpoint for interns to work virtually with their clients. So again, roughly 20 hours a week of client engagement is going to be had by each intern. Most clients, will have some dedicated office space or conference room space that they're willing to share. Some clients don't necessarily have space. So again, where that work is done, where meetings happen, we don't necessarily have a particular requirement for where those happen. but it's important for you and the intern in that first week of engagement to figure out when and where you're going to be meeting, what's a good place to make those meetings happen, what time of the week, etc. So good to nail those things down early. All right, big issue here, confidentiality. Students are or become employees of the SBTDC. Okay, they're not employees of the university. They're not your employees. They're actually employees of the SBTDC. And that's very important because all SBTDC employees are held under the same confidentiality policies when we sign off on what's called our standards of conduct form or document. And what that says is that all information that's shared between clients and SBTDC employees cannot be shared outside the SBTDC, obviously outside of their clients, with other parties. Okay. What that does allow for is information to be shared between SBTDC employees. And that's very important because our client engagements are not individualized, meaning, for example, if I work with you as a client, I may bring in a colleague of mine who brings another set of perspectives or another outside experience, or they may bring in outside knowledge that I don't necessarily have. And it becomes more of a team effort of providing service to you as a client as opposed to just an individual effort. So that being said, if we were to allow interns to sign NDAs with their clients, that intern would not have the opportunity to share the work that they're doing and strategize back and forth with us at the SBTDC. That just wouldn't be able to happen. So people, for good reason, always ask, does our client or does our intern have the opportunity to sign an NDA? And the answer is no, for the reasons that we just discussed. Project planning. From our perspective, the first week of the internship is probably the most important. And the reason for that is because the groundwork or the foundation is going to be developed for the entire project. Meaning, we want in that first week for the intern and you, the client, to work closely together to determine exactly the milestones that you would like to achieve over the 10 weeks. And more importantly, what are the deliverables that you would like to see come out of their efforts? Okay. We want those deliverables to be something that is going to be useful to you once the intern departs and goes back to school next year or in the fall. We want those deliverables to be useful to you in propelling you to the next challenge in your business. Okay. So in this first week of the internship, kickoff is next week for most of the interns, and you've been communicated with one-on-one as to what the specific start date is for your intern. Most interns are starting and attending our in-person orientation next next week on 5/9. In that first meeting with the intern, we want you to sit down and establish what those expectations are and create a fluid, we'll call it, timeline that goes with those expectations. Now, with any work plan, those can change over time due to various reasons. Work can be going much more efficiently or less efficiently as expected. New issues can pop up. For example, in the past, we've had projects moving along smoothly, and a client comes to us and says, and to their intern and says, we've been invited to do a pitch presentation at an equity investor, and we really need some extra boots on the ground to help, put together a strong pitch presentation. And with that, everybody okays the fact that the project needs to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to put the other things on the project timeline on hold, and we're going to put all hands on deck and get this presentation done. Once that's completed, we'll go back to the original timeline and proceed as needed. So we don't want to make it as if this work plan that's developed in week one is concrete and cannot be changed, but we want everybody to be on the same page when it comes to changes that are being made to this timeline. Okay, because at the end of the day, if there's no map to getting a project to completion, somebody is bound to get lost, and work is not going to be done efficiently. So again, milestone-driven work for projects and deliverables that are going to be useful to you when the client or when the intern goes back to school in the fall. So most interns will be meeting with you for the first time next week. I know that a couple of interns have met with some clients already, which is terrific if that's happened. But again, in that first meeting or prior to that first meeting you have with the intern, put some thought into what are those particular products that you would like to come out of the research that they do. So here's what we will ask of the interns in the beginning of week 2. So during week 1, we want them to put together a very clear table format work plan, okay, with week number 1 through 10 or week 1 through 11, summary of activities that they expect to carry out during that week, what they expect the deliverable is going to be from that work that they carry out, and what is the status of that? How is the progress for those deliverables going? Okay, and we want to see that on a weekly basis. And we strongly suggest that the intern share this with you as well. So again, all 3 parties, the intern, SBTDC, and you, are all on the same page, and we're moving in the same direction. In addition to that work plan being submitted to us, updated on a weekly basis, we require that the students provide us with a clear overview of the work that they're doing. Okay. This is very important to us, specifically as mentors, so that when we hold our weekly meeting with the intern, we can refer back to this document that they've sent early in the week and have some very clear talking points. Okay, so just to let you know that we're going to be keeping a close eye on the progress that the interns are making. So we have scheduled a total of 6 group sessions, and that's held between the interns and the SBTDC. You are not required to attend these. It's simply SBTDC and intern only. The first meeting that we'll have for most of the interns will be on May 9th. That will be an orientation where we go through a lot of logistics, helping them to understand what their work plan needs to look like, etc., so that they can hit the ground running. Session 2 will be held later in May, and that will be a presentation that will focus on value proposition. How does a company properly go out to identify and research what is the value that their technology is bringing to the user or the buyer? So we'll have a very good discussion about that with the interns, and more importantly, we'll be going around and discussing each of the projects that the interns are working on. Session 3 will be a presentation on intellectual property, how you define that, why it's important, etc. And we'll also have time for project discussion. And weeks or sessions 4 and 5 are two of the most fun and exciting presentations. Session 4 will be an elevator pitch overview session. We bring in a communications professor from Keenan Flagler Business School who provides an overview of how to appropriately tell a story in a very short period of time. And this elevator pitch will then be delivered in the next session, session 5, where all of the interns will be provided 60 seconds, no notes, and they'll be pitching on behalf of you. Okay, so a lot of the interns will work directly with you to develop a strong pitch. At the end of the day, it's a great way for the students to figure out how to clearly sell a business or clearly sell a technology in a very short window of time, 60 seconds. But at the end of the day, this elevator pitch presentation is really yours. Okay, we want this to be something that you can take as one of the deliverables from this program, so that when you are going out and trying to sell your idea, your business, your proposition to sell a product, when you're going out to those customers and potential investors, we want this to be something that you can take along with you. Okay, so it's a great opportunity for you and the intern to work together, and just an awesome deliverable to have from this program. And then finally, session 6 will be final presentations. All interns are provided 7 minutes for each of their 2 clients. They'll describe the business challenges that their clients were facing at the time that they entered the door, and what are the things that they focused on, how they go about identifying resources and the information that was needed to be able to overcome these challenges that you guys were facing. And then they'll be talking about a little bit about lessons learned, more about personal lessons learned. And we always love to hear what the interns have to say. Some of them will be very, ecstatic about the opportunity of being an entrepreneur themselves one day. Others will say, wow, I really didn't know I liked, marketing and market research as much as I did, or I didn't, really understand the whole funding process for a startup, and I learned a lot about that and would love to take part in this one day. So it's really cool to hear what the interns learn from a personal and professional perspective. So in conclusion, 2 most important points here. Communication with the interns and mentors should be your top priority, keeping everybody in the loop, sharing good news, challenges, etc. We're here at the SBTDC to help get through any challenges that come up, because, again, your win is our win. And finally, work plan. Again, in your first meetings with your intern, that intern will be tasked with creating that work plan with very clear deliverables, clear milestones, and that is a document that they will follow throughout the summer. So again, you will leave this program with something in hand that's very, very valuable to you. Okay, with that, we will open it up to any questions. On the right-hand side of your screen is a field for chatting. So if you would like to chat, or actually questions, you can type your questions into the question toolbar. I'll be able to see those, I'll read them and answer those as they come in. So I'll give you a couple of seconds to draft any questions that you have. Or alternatively, if you would like to ask any one-on-one questions, certainly my email address is on the next slide. So contact me anytime. First question is, do the interns already have timelines for the different sessions? So I believe if you're referring to the group sessions, yes, we do have those set in our calendar, and those will be shared with the interns. Happy to share those with you if you would like to keep track of those as well. So shoot me an email if you would like to see what the dates are. Just again, your participation is not required. It's best that you not be there simply because we have so much information to cover. But if you'd just like to keep track of those dates, let me know. Next question, have you already assigned mentors, and are these from the SBTDC? Yes, all of the mentors are the 4 people on my team, either Nicole, Mike, Chris, or myself, and yes, they are already identified. Next question, who initiates the first meeting? Do we reach out or do they? All of the interns have been requested that they communicate directly with you with a request for that first meeting. So if you have not yet heard from your intern, shoot me an email. Let me know if you've not heard from them, and I'll step in and see what might be going on there. But yeah, in that first week, which for most of you will be next week, we'd love for you to meet with your client for a couple of hours and get things rolling. Next question. Would you suggest coordinating with the second client to organize the 2.5 days of effort for each company? For example, Monday through Tuesday for me and Thursday through Friday for the second company. We like to leave that between the intern to act as the liaison between you and the other company. So it's best if the intern work with you to say, okay, Monday, Tuesday is best for us. Then the other engagement that the intern is working on can be set for the other 2 days of the week. So it's a good opportunity for the interns to kind of learn the consulting practices associated with working with several clients. So leave that to them. Okay, I don't see any additional questions popping up, so appreciate your time. We've got you out of here in 30 minutes. We're looking forward to a really, really exciting summer with some significant value add coming out of this program. Very glad to have you on board and look forward to working with you over the next 10 to 12 weeks. Okay, with that, we'll sign off and we'll talk to you all soon. Thanks.